You've been lied to. You've been told that discipline was a matter of willpower, of mental fortitude. That if you failed, it meant you weren't strong enough, not motivated enough. That's false. If you struggle to stick to your long-term goals, you're not the problem. Your method is. In the next 14 minutes, I'm going to give you the exact 7-step system that transforms discipline from a daily battle into a given. Stay tuned until the end, because the 7th step changes absolutely everything. Today, we're going to deconstruct the myth of willpower together, and I'll show you how to build a discipline system that cannot fail. We'll talk about environment, the domino effect, psychological contracts, and the secret weapon the most disciplined people in the world use without even talking about it. Get ready, we're starting now. Chapter 1. The first and most fundamental point, we must obliterate the myth of pure willpower. Let me tell you a story, inspired by real events, about a guy we'll call Leo. Every January 1st, Leo was full of that famous willpower. He was going to wake up at 5 a.m., exercise, eat healthy, read 50 books a year. On January 1st, he was a superhero. On the 4th, he hit snooze. On the 10th, he ordered a pizza. By February 1st, it was as if nothing had happened. Sound familiar? Leo's problem wasn't a lack of desire. It was his strategy. He was relying on a resource that is, by nature, limited and fluctuating, willpower. Psychological studies, such as Roy Baumeister's work on ego depletion, have shown that our willpower is like a muscle. The more we use it in a day to resist a pastry, to stay focused, to avoid yelling at a colleague, the more fatigued it becomes. Relying solely on it to build long-term discipline is like trying to build a house out of Play-Doh. It collapses at the first gust of wind. Leo failed not because he was weak, but because he was playing a losing game. The first step to becoming disciplined is to accept this truth: stop fighting with your willpower. Start building a system that makes it almost unnecessary. And the first pillar of this system is radically simple. Chapter 2. The second point is to become the architect of your environment. Discipline doesn't arise in a vacuum. It's a product of your surroundings. Is your willpower weak? Perfect. Make the good action easy and the bad action difficult, if not impossible. This is the path of least resistance. Humans are programmed to choose the easiest path. Instead of fighting against this nature, use it to your advantage. Leo wanted to stop wasting time on his phone in the evenings and read more. His first approach, based on willpower, was to tell himself, "Tonight, I won't touch my phone, I'll read." Guaranteed failure. Infinite scrolling is designed to be more appealing than any book. Leo's new approach, the architect's approach? Every evening at 9 p.m., he plugged his phone in the kitchen. Not in his bedroom. On his nightstand, he left only one thing, a book. Suddenly, the easiest action wasn't to scroll, but to pick up the book. He applied this to everything. He wanted to eat more fruit? He put a fruit bowl prominently on the counter and hid the cookies at the back of a cupboard, behind the cans. He wanted to exercise in the morning? He prepared his workout clothes and laid them at the foot of his bed before sleeping. The first thing he saw when he woke up. Stop seeing yourself as a soldier who must confront temptation. See yourself as an architect who designs a space where temptation doesn't even have a place. But modifying your environment isn't enough if the action itself seems like a mountain. Chapter 3. And that's where our third principle comes in, the 2-minute rule, or what I call the domino effect. The number one enemy of discipline is inertia. The hardest part isn't doing the action, it's starting it. Our brain hates tasks that seem enormous and intimidating. The trick? Make starting so ridiculously simple that it's impossible to say no. The goal isn't to achieve the final outcome immediately, but to master the art of starting. Leo's goal was no longer do an hour of exercise. It became put on my running shoes and step outside the house. That's it. It's an action that takes less than 2 minutes. Anyone can do that. But what happens once he has his shoes on and is outside? Inertia is overcome. He tells himself, well, now that I'm here, I might as well run for 5 minutes. And those 5 minutes often become 10, then 20. Want to read more? Your goal isn't to read a chapter. It's to read a single page. Want to learn a new language? The goal isn't to do a 30-minute lesson. It's to open the app. This rule short-circuits procrastination. It turns a mountain into a mere step. And every time you take that first step, you knock over a domino. You create a small victory that gives you momentum for the next one. It's a chain reaction. But even with a perfect environment and easy starts, we can give up if the reason for our efforts is unclear. And that's the most important thing. Chapter 4. Fourth point, the power of deep whys. Discipline without purpose is torture. It's a chore. You can use all the tricks in the world, but deep down, if you don't really know why you're putting in the effort, you'll eventually crack. The why isn't the surface goal. I want to lose weight isn't a why. It's an outcome. The true why is the emotional layer beneath. Why do you want to lose weight? To have the energy to play with your kids without getting out of breath? To regain confidence and dare to approach people again? To be healthy and live long enough to see your grandchildren grow up? Leo, at first, wanted to be fit. It was vague, weak. He didn't exercise, he took a sheet of paper and asked himself why? 5 times. I want to be fit. Why? To have more energy. Why? To be more productive and less tired in the evenings. Why? To have time and strength for my personal projects after work. Why? Because I feel frustrated seeing my life reduced to the daily grind. Why? Because I'm afraid of waking up at 60 with regrets about not having built anything I truly cared about. Bam. That's a why. When he feels like skipping his morning run, he's no longer fighting to be fit. He's fighting against a lifetime of regret. Which of these two motivations do you think is more powerful? Your why is your fuel. Without it, your engine stops at the first obstacle. Find it, write it down, display it everywhere. It will be your anchor in the storm. But even with the best why in the world, we remain social creatures, and that's where the next key comes in. Chapter 5. Fifth principle, the contract with yourself and with others. We have a deep-seated fear of disappointing others. Often, far more than disappointing ourselves. It's a flaw in our psychology, and we're going to exploit it. To make a commitment real, there must be consequences. There must be a stake. One of the most powerful forms is public commitment or accountability. Leo wanted to stop procrastinating on an important project. He tried alone, it didn't work. So, he sent a message to his best friend, "Hey, I commit to sending you a 300-word progress report on my project every Sunday evening before 8 p.m. If I miss even once, I owe you €50. Suddenly, the stakes weren't just his project. It was his money and his reputation with his friend. The pain of losing €50 and having to admit failure was far greater than the pain of working on his project. You don't need money. Tell your partner, a friend, or post on social media, "I'm going to do X for 30 days. The simple act of saying it out loud creates positive social pressure. You can also use apps like StickK or BeMinder, where you literally put money on the line for your own goals. This transforms a vague intention into a binding contract. You increase the cost of inaction. It's a way to force your hand, to create an external safeguard for moments when your internal motivation wavers. It's tremendously effective. But be warned, even with all of this, there will be days when you fail. And your reaction to that failure is what separates those who succeed from those who give up for good. Chapter 6. The sixth point, and perhaps the most counterintuitive, forgive failure, but analyze the data. Perfection is the greatest enemy of long-term discipline. You're going to miss a day. You're going to eat that cake. You're going to skip that workout. It's inevitable. The difference lies in the second that follows. Most people enter a spiral of guilt. I messed everything up, I'm useless, might as well give up entirely. This is the since I've started effect. You ate one biscuit, so you might as well finish the whole packet. It's a fatal error. Truly disciplined people don't see failure as a moral judgment, but as data. As feedback. When Leo ate a pizza on a Tuesday evening, instead of beating himself up, he asked himself one question: what happened? He analyzed. He'd had a stressful day, hadn't prepared a healthy meal in advance, he was tired. The failure wasn't due to a lack of willpower, but a flaw in his system. The solution wasn't to try harder next time, but to correct the system, prepare a few meals in advance on the weekend for tired evenings. Every failure is an opportunity to learn and strengthen your system. The golden rule is, never miss twice in a row. You skipped your workout today? That's okay. That's your wild card. But tomorrow, no matter what, you go. Even for 5 minutes. This simple rule prevents a single slip-up from turning into a complete abandonment. It breaks the spiral of failure. Be a scientist of your own habits, not a judge. And now, we come to the ultimate step. The one that cements everything else and makes discipline almost effortless. Chapter 7. Here is the culmination, the seventh and final key, visualizing your future identity. This is the deepest change you can make. Stop thinking in terms of actions you need to do, and start thinking in terms of the person you want to become. Your goal isn't to run 3 times a week. It's to become a runner. Your goal isn't to write 500 words a day. It's to become a writer. The difference is immense. When you focus on the action, every day is a debate. Do I have the motivation to run today? When you focus on identity, the question becomes, what would someone like me do? A runner runs. A writer writes. The action becomes a simple manifestation of your identity. It's who you are, not what you force yourself to do. Leo stopped telling himself, I have to eat healthy. He started visualizing and defining himself as, I am the kind of person who takes care of their body. This simple change in internal dialogue changed everything. Faced with a menu, the choice was no longer a battle between salad, effort, and a burger, pleasure. It was a choice of consistency. As a person who takes care of my body, what do I choose? The decision becomes almost automatic. Every small action you take, putting on your running shoes, choosing the fruit, writing a page, is no longer a chore. It's a vote. A vote to become this new person. Every time you take the right action, you add proof to your new identity. And with enough proof, you're no longer playing a role. You become it. This is the ultimate goal of discipline, for it to disappear and make way for who you are. There's no longer effort, just alignment. Conclusion. In summary, let's stop the madness. Discipline isn't an innate gift, it's a skill built with the right system. 1. Forget willpower, it's a limited resource. 2. Become the architect of your environment to make success inevitable. 3. Use the 2-minute. Don't forget to subscribe.